Man, OBS and Photoshop 25 just do not naturally mesh together like at all. I had a forced update this morning on both. So I spent the past hour figuring out how the hell is this thing supposed to work now, and I finally got it to work. So now we finally get to do some streaming. I am complaining about technology. I am an old man. Let me do it. So let's check my signal here to make sure I'm coming through okay clearly. Let me do it. Mic check. So let's check my signal. Yep, it sounds like I'm going through A-okay. We're going to do some artwork this morning for an Eberron adventure that I'm creating using the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition 2024 rules. You can see the cover here on the screen. It's called Crystals of Mabar. It's for characters 7th and 8th level. You're fighting necromancers and undead and demons in the Carnwood of Karnath on the continent of Corvair. And my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online. And I've been creating, I've been a DM since 1987, an Eberron enthusiast since 2004, a freelance illustrator since 1999, and creating content on the DMsGuild for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition since 2018. But I haven't published anything for Eberron specifically yet. And so I made this adventure for people to run around inside of it. It's really fun. Give me a second here to make sure that all my signals are lined up. It looks like we're looking good here. Okay, cool. So I'll just fix my window and we're going to get to work here for at least a little bit. If you think today's cool, and I'm here 9 times per week. So like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications of when we're live in the future. Here's a whole bunch of books that I've already created on the DMsGuild over the past few years. They all have free preview. Be welcome to check them out if you're a D&D enthusiast. There might be something valuable there for you. We're on currently episode 482. The entire playlist is here. The book cover that I have here, we created back around episode 40, so you can check that out in the Wayback Machine. I'm going to get that guy out of the way. Oh, I'm going to have a sip of coffee first. Sorry, I'm having a wreck of a morning. We're making icons. These icons are identifying locations. The adventure is divided into 3 separate parts as depicted in the diagram to the right. Part 1, Edge of Lament. Part 2, Into the Mist. Part 3, Within the Nexus. So this is how they are. And again, we were talking about last time the world map here in Karnath, 80 miles northeast of Bastion is the village Peace, and then 20 miles northwest of that is the actual manifest zone where the adventure occurs, manifest zone to the plain of Mabar. Where undead and darkness reign supreme. It's the Endless Night is what it's called. So by the time your character begins their adventure in the village Peace, the actual adventure is like when you just first roll in. It's just a couple of days ride from Bastion, so it's hardly an issue for you guys to get there. They just need to know, and I have a typo here that I need to fix. So yeah, the adventure is broken into 3 parts. The village here, part 1. Hold on, let's scroll back. Part 1, the village Peace. Part 2, and region A in part 1 is the village Peace, where you find out about there's people missing, and the default plot hook is that you've been deputized by sheriffs in Bastion to go investigate what's going on there while the NPCs deal with more pressing issues. And so you get there and you find that, there's people missing, there's monsters in the woods. So you go into the Carnwood to find out what's going on with these monsters. And there's supposedly soldiers in there that are keeping you from getting too far into the forest. And then, so if you poke in far enough and get past the soldiers, you'll get into the Mist, which is the manifest zone, which has a forgotten cemetery, a flooded fort, and a gatehouse inside of it that lead to part 3, Into the Nexus. Within the Nexus, which is an underground, basically necromancer research facility that's been taken over by cultists, Emerald Claw cultists that have been funded and recruited. Not recruited. They've been funded by the 12. They stole an artifact from Ader Academy and some interns along with some alchemists along with it to convert the materials that are in the Mabar Manifest Zone into alchemical items and spell components. So it's basically just the Emerald Claw is generating a manifest zone to the plane of Mabar to not only make for easy undead for them to control, but also to terraform the environment so that they can basically harvest this exotic material to sell off to the 12 or any other necromancers or any other wizards that are willing to take it for basically for profit and power. Super easy. Elaborate scheme, simple reasoning. So those are the six main regions throughout the adventure, broken into 3 parts, and we're making icons for each of them here on this map to not only describe what the different parts of the adventure is, but also to create these silhouette icons that will then drop down into these buttons here. Part 1, A and B, Part 2, A, B, C. So we'll be able to put these little icons down here into these, and these will become hyperlinked buttons that if you click them, they'll take you to that part of the adventure. So it's a PDF, it's a hypertext, so you can click around and it'll just navigate around the document. Yeah, I think that's the quick noodle of it. So let's get to work. I have 3 more icons to make. I only have I have less than an hour to do it because of my mishaps this morning. So let's hold on. I'm gonna double check here. And that's pretty good. I think I can. Push my OBS window out a smidge. Yeah, that looks good. All right, so B, this is where we're at. We want to make this. This is the flooded fort. It's on the surface level, it's ruins, but this is a not to scale at all. But there's basically a 600, like a 7-degree, 600-foot ramp that leads from the ruins of the flooded fort down into the underground facility, and the gatehouse that basically sits on top of it and has basically a massive elevator shaft that's been disabled over hundreds of years, and it's just a massive vertical shaft. There's guards posted here, these mercenaries, and there's mercenaries posted at the flooded fort as well. So you have to either fight your way through, sneak past them, or negotiate your way to get them to not get in your way. And your team has been equipped with badges, so you've actually been deputized. So you have the authority to ask questions and go wherever the fuck you want. And if these mercenaries get in the way, well, technically they're getting in the way of the law. And if your team hasn't killed too many of them, by the time you get into conversation, they may be willing to help you. Otherwise, they're just going to not trust you. They're already not trusting their necromancer employers. So it's primed for you to go in and do something productive. But if there's been too much violence there's plenty of monsters for you to kill. You don't have to kill mercenaries unless your team's just gun happy. And there's different. The adventure has built in the likelihood that your team is going to be enemies with the mercenaries. But if your team manages to make allies out of them, when you complete this adventure, you can take over this region, make it your bastion, and then these guys are unemployed, and they're concerned their reputation is going to get burned because for them to help you, they have to betray their boss, right? Their client, and that's not good. So they're concerned about future gigs. So if your team decides to take this place over, make a bastion out of it, and then hire the mercenaries to become basically your soldiers, you've got a ready-made force of competent undead fighters that are more than happy to lend aid to you. This is old. Okay, I'm gonna have to figure this out. So Photoshop 25, I'm thankful, kept all my presets, but it didn't necessarily keep all my brushes. So what I'm missing is a square brush that I had made a while ago. So apparently this is not the current brush set that's active. I don't know if it just got destroyed and it's gone now. So I'm going to have to spend some time on. I'm not going to bother doing it right now. We'll figure it out eventually. That's not accurate. Let's do it like. It seems like Photoshop 25 has a lot of bells and whistles, and I'm not sure if I give a shit about any of them. Photoshop is. I'm a huge. I'm a loyalist. First off, like if I think something is good, I don't leave it. It takes a lot to convince me to leave something. Hold on, I need to double, triple check here. Oh, good. My corn's still there. Good. And Photoshop was the digital tool in the 90s that I could use that would allow me to learn how to paint in color. Because I don't see any color. I'm colorblind. 100% colorblind. So it was one of my friends, Larry, challenged me to figure it out anyway. I was lamenting that in the early 2000s that if the freelance market, the freelance digital asset market was going color, it was too expensive to do color initially in print on demand. So there was very little. The people that were creating D20, the original third edition D20 type content in the early 2000s, they were they didn't bother with color because the books were so expensive. The initial print on demand was so expensive to do color that for a couple of years it was only black and white art. So there was a resurgence in ink art for a while. But then once the industry figured out how to make color print on demand affordable, obviously if people could afford it costs more. So initially they're like, great, we don't have to worry about the extra expense. But once color became possible, then it was, well, this book needs color. And without me being able, like, I can't proof. I can color digitally because I have an RGB meter up here in the corner that is my color vision for me. It tells me what the RGB is at, and if the numbers are wrong on the RGB, I know the color is wrong. So this RGB slider is literally my color vision. And it took me a number of years to figure out how to do that, but I had. So it was I wouldn't have figured that out if I didn't have the pressure of the industry is going color and you can't follow them there, because I can't. Even if I can print in digital, even if I can color digitally, I can't proof print. So I'm not useful in larger projects that are going to print in color because I can't make the step. I don't have the ability to correct it. So I was excited to be able to at least be able to now do color digitally. So all the books that I make are digital. So I'm not motivated to make like print on demand books that are going. There's no way for me to proof them, and I don't want to pay. The whole advantage I have in making books is that I can do it myself. I can paint myself. I don't need to hire someone to do artwork for me. So my overhead costs drop to zero. It just takes a while. And obviously 482 episodes in, I don't mind however long it takes for me to complete a project. I can get it finished. So that's one of the reasons why I stream is to be proof that, a project's being worked on, that it's in progress, and people can tune in every day, like literally every day, and see how the project's coming along. And when we finish this one, we're just going to start another project. So if you don't particularly care about Eberron, but like maybe you like Magic the Gathering a lot, well, I'll be doing a lot of Magic the Gathering in upcoming episodes. Maybe you're a Bastion person. I'll be, after this completes, the next book I'll probably publish is going to be the Bastion campaign system, which we streamed the entire creation of here over the course of, it was like 4 months, I think it took us to build those mechanics and books. And, that reminds me, my Eberron Spelljammer Bastion campaign is today. I am looking forward to DMing that. Hopefully, it's a bunch of salespeople, IT, HR, and admins that I play with at my day job. And so we have a 1 hour lunch we call it lunchtime adventure. It's a once a week 1 hour session where we play a serial campaign. It's been we originally ran 5e with 5 people, and we went from level 1 to 20, and with 1 hour lunches. It took 6 years for us to finish the campaign. So basically 280 some odd episodes with like breaks and stuff weaved in there. It took a while to finish that campaign, but God, it was an amazing campaign, and it was a multi-dimensional dream space campaign in Eberron, of course. So the team loves Eberron, but they also knew that I made a Spelljammer supplement, so they wanted to run Spelljammer. It's like, yeah, we want to use your shit. Like, okay, wow, thanks for the compliment, guys. Sure, let me build an Eberron Spelljammer campaign for you. So we did, and we made it a Bastion campaign, and because I was already thinking about the idea of Bastions before Wizards had published them, like how to build better systems for downtime activities and the Dominion style of play. That's something that I really enjoyed about earlier editions of D&D is this scope of scaling up your importance and power in the world. You know, over time, as you gain levels, you become a larger and larger threat. You command a larger and larger zone of control, and kind of like how Apex monsters have like expansive lairs that cover, you know, extensive terrain. It's similarly, the characters have their own apex space that they occupy, that they kind of push monsters out of. So it's called the Flooded Fort because it's constantly raining in the Carnwood this time of year. And wait for it. There we go. And this tunnel is blocked off. So it's been flooding with rainwater and necrotic goop. And where's merge layer? There it is. They moved merge layers on the menu. I've been using Photoshop 2020 since 2020, and it stopped working well. So I'm like, what's going wrong with my 2020? Let me try updating it, and instead of just patching 2020, it just upgraded me to 2025. I'm like, I didn't really ask for that, but I guess here we are. So I guess I'll have an opportunity to mess around with the tools. Maybe I'll spend a session messing around with the tools at some point. But here's this, and there we go. Like that. There like that, like these little watery wavy bits. How do I want to do? Like these are all silhouettes with empty space, like with negative space in them. Ooh, maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I'm thinking about this the wrong way. Maybe what I actually need to do is duplicate the layer. Block this in. This is probably the right way to do this. I bet this is the correct path. Hold on. Let's get this filled in, and then we'll erase the waves that we just made. Harumph. Let's go with like that. There we go. There. I bet this is going to work out. Something like that. Let's grab. No. Let's replicate. Copy paste. This should do. Caught up on Mobland last night. I suspect that season is over. Merge layers. Yeah, Mobland on Paramount, super good. Guy Ritchie, hard to say no to that. It's a good mobster movie. Ritchie does good mobster movies. It's what he does. There. I'm going to fill all this in, and then we're going to erase some lines to distinguish parts of the structure from each other. Let's drop in an eraser here like that. Let's grab our smudge brush. Huh. That. Yeah, I need to rebuild that square brush. It is too useful. I'm not gonna bother with it right now. I'll do it off screen tonight. Figure out what I've lost and what I recovered. I owe my Patreons an ASB file of all my brushes anyway, so I mean that's gonna work out. Let's do that. Three pixels. Sounds like my music stopped. For whatever reason, Epidemic doesn't like to continuously stream my music. It stops on occasion. Which I don't appreciate. There. That's my timely timer telling me it's been 20 minutes. I've got another 20 minutes to go. Yep, 7:30. I got another 20 minutes. If it wasn't for that crummy update, I'd be done already. So we're gonna have to tack on an extra day tomorrow, get this resolved. That's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind the journey. I'm 482 episodes into building this adventure. I do not mind the journey. What does this button do? Maybe I want to create some negative space here. There's a big blast door the team needs to get around that leads to undead. Get through the undead, you can go through the water, and there's three different ways to get into the underground facility from here. There's a grate that you can get through. If you can get the tiny size, which any druid could. You can cross through the grating and open it up from the other side. It's just a lift gate at the end of the flooded tunnel. There's a lift gate that lets you into the underground facility because you're like way down here at this point. There's also tunnels that have just eroded into the structure that will also lead you into the underground facility. And then there's a massive blast door that, if you can figure out how to raise it, will drain all the water and flood that will literally flood the underground facility and create massive chaos, which we provide directions for the team to use and how and like what is the water line impact. There's all these you'll see it once we start organizing the maps for the underground facility. But all the rooms are basically separated from each other by these massive metal bunker doors that raise and lower like portcullis. And depending on which doors are opened and closed at the time will depend on how much of the region is flooded with water if you get this door open. The opening mechanism for the door at the bottom of this flooded tunnel is it's been it's ancient, it's hundreds of years old, but beyond that, it's been further sabotaged by the Red Wolves when they took control of the facility, because it's a major point of access that compromises their security. So they broke the door, the winching mechanism, so that it can't work. It's nothing that a couple mending spells or a couple hours with some tinker tools couldn't repair, but it's also going to slow your team down so that they have to worry themselves about patrols discovering them. But otherwise, the gatehouse, where the mechanism is at, is pretty much ignored. So it's a safe place for the team to get a short rest while they're in the facility. They can't get a long rest in the dungeon. They have to retreat from the manifest zone and basically go back to the village to get a long rest. But short rests, yeah, you can sneak short rests all over the place. And we specifically spell, like, you know, here's a zone here's like a location where you can take a short rest if you need to, and here's the trouble that you're going to run into if you try to take a long rest, or like here's your frequency of encounters if you decide to rest here. It's got all the bells and whistles and all the mechanisms that you need. And once you read through it, if you read through the adventure like a good DM should before running it, it basically provides you with everything that you need, and then suggestions and opportunities of how you can modify it to mesh better with whatever campaign it is that you already have, whether you're in Karnath or not. Because there's six plots. There's one is the default where you're deputized, and then the other 5 are like different factions or organizations in Karnath or throughout Eberron that would have an invested interest in the creation of the ability to create a manifest zone, which is basically what the Eye of Mabar can do. It can just generate manifest zones connecting to Mabar, and if it lasts long enough, it'll create a permanent portal leading into that plane where demons and undead can just march out and attack the world. So artifacts, it's an actual artifact, and artifacts are intelligent, and so this artifact, the Eye of Mabar, although it looks like an eyeball, like a steel eye the size of a volleyball, it's actually, it has its own intelligence. It's actually the egg of a Yugoloth. So if it's properly used, whoever is performing the ritual with the Eye of Mabar to generate the manifest zone, once the manifest zone permanizes, that whoever the ritual caster was is transformed into a Yugoloth, and you retain all of the knowledge that you had in your mortal life, but now it's being used by like a CR12 Ultra, CR14, yeah, like a CR14 Ultraloth that can command armies and has an open portal to Mabar, and wants to destroy everything. So if it succeeds, if the ritual completes, this Emerald Claw Necromancer used to be military intelligence and a field commander in the last war. He got, he's Emerald Claw. He got decommissioned and declared a war criminal, went into hiding, and this is his means of trying to get out from underneath that by being able to generate this wealth and basically build a ticket for himself to get out of here. So, but he doesn't know that he's going to get betrayed by the artifact, because that's how betrayal works. And so once he completes the ritual, he's dead. You don't need a stat block for that guy technically. Like, you will never fight him. If you disrupt the ritual, he dies. If he completes the ritual, he dies. But it just depends on what replaces him if he does. So your team is going to go in there and stir some trouble. And your final boss is going to end up being a Yugoloth. Depending on how strong your team is at the moment, it could be an Ultraloth. It could be a Mesoloth. Those are the two suggestions. A Mesoloth is only CR4. But if your team is pushed too hard too far and don't have the resources to survive a high CR encounter like that, then like if they're strong and like this is a one shot and they've just been raffle stomping the dungeon, then yeah, throwing a CR14 Ultraloth at them is going to, that's going to wreck them, and it should. But if they've been suffering from attrition and their resources are low, and that would just absolutely that would wreck them, but in a bad way, then you can drop in this lower CR Mesoloth. That'll be easy for the team to defeat. But technically, the Ultraloth isn't hatched unless the ritual actually completes, and the timing of the adventure gets them there before the ritual completes, and it takes 46 days to complete the ritual. And once the ritual starts, the artifact kind of locks the ritual caster in place and slowly kills them. Basically forms a necrotic chrysalis around them, and liquefies their body, much like a butterfly, liquefies their body while they're still performing the ritual. They're basically restrained, paralyzed, and locked in place. Well, not paralyzed, they're restrained, because paralyzed can't talk. But you can still hold the artifact, which is all it needs. It just needs to be held, and the ritual needs to be spoken. And it forms this necrotic chrysalis around you and continues to grow in power. And at the end of it, again, you're reborn, and a portal opens, and then undead can pour out, and the Carnwood gets taken over again by undead. The cemetery in the manifest zone that the team can explore, it's an homage to all these soldiers that died preventing the last invasion, but it's not on the books anywhere. You're not gonna be able to look up, hey, what happened here? Like, there's no records of it, but we have the backstory in here in case your team, if it's part of an ongoing campaign and your team decides to commune or something or like legend lore to get information about this thing, then they'll discover the truth and know what happened. And not that it matters. I mean, we actually have prices for like bounties that the Kornberg Chronicle has put out. Like, if there's information about this bloodline that you can find, we want to make a story out of it, so we'll pay you gold to give us that information. That sort of stuff is inside the cemetery. Like, when you get into the cemetery, it's like, here's this piece of information is worth like X thousand gold. It's like there's no loot. There's not a lot of like loot per se throughout this adventure, other than gathering information that can be sold as forgotten knowledge, plus all the magic items and stuff like that. But the bastion itself is a big prize for the team to fetch for themselves if they're interested in that sort of campaign. So the adventure does, I guess you could call it a lot of hand holding. It gives you a hand to hold if you need one, but it walks you through the process of what it is that we're doing here and how you can modify it, and gives a ton of examples of how to modify it in different NPCs that can be involved, and how you can make the scenario fit whatever it is that you need. I like that. I think it looks really good. These are all really, when you're making icons, you want the silhouettes to be very distinct from each other, so there's no confusion at all. And so far, I think we're doing great. They're all roughly the same size, so they're like occupying the same amount of volume. They might be arranged a little bit differently, but for the most part, they have about the same volume, which is good. That's what I need for the buttons down here. Excuse me while I take a sip. All right, that's a successful mission there. A, B, and number C. I like the general jive of what this thing is doing. There we go. This and this. Down. There it is. I'm gonna have to get used to that. Those buttons are not where I expect them to be. You know what? Actually, screw you, Oofus. Transform. Split warp horizontal. Remove warp split. Convert warp anchor point. Toggle guides. Fuck, what? New tools. Okay, I mean, it's hard to pass up new tools, right? I will have to explore those in my free time. Flip horizontal. Okay, I mean, it's hard to pass up. I will have to So the gatehouse is in ruins as well, but it's there's an elevator shaft that leads directly down. I mean, like once you get here, you can just literally just rappel, or there's stairway. You just take stairs down into the dungeon and you're good to go. But there's a bunch of soldiers that are stationed in a camp here. Basically, there's the area has, okay, so it has this cemetery of fallen soldiers, but the actual location itself used to be a necromancer research facility of dark practices. I mean, dark. So there's mass graves everywhere, like unmarked graves of just piles of dead. And the manifest zone has become so powerful that it's just spontaneously animating the dead into ghouls, zombies, and powerful skeletal warriors that claw their way out of their mass grave and instinctively reform into squads. And that's what's been attacking the village, these squads of undead. So if depending on how the DM wants to structure the adventure, you basically walk them into the village, and it's being attacked by undead. It's an opportunity for the team to start with a running gun if they want to, just to run around and fight undead and kill stuff for the villagers, or they could arrive there after the village has been attacked by a platoon of undead, and everyone's dead already. So now you're investigating a mass murder or a death by undead horde. You know, who's done this? Well, obviously the necromancers did. It's your job to go fix it. Let's do that. I'm being really nitpicky here. I don't need to be so nitpicky. Oh, God, I like that shape, though. That feels really good. It's a really good shape. Whew, we're almost out of time. All right, so let's ruin this a little bit and then move along. Like that. Lower ground. It has this elevated region, and then it has this lower area, and this elevated region kind of like curls around the elevator shaft. Thank you, Timely Timer. Okay, I only got a few minutes left, so let's just cap this off here. Let's add a little bit. I need a little bit more bulk in here. This is too thin. That feels about right. Say what? All right, that's good. Merge down. Still getting used to that. Merge down. Looks like I got used to it. Let's simplify the shapes just a smidge. Nah. Good. There. Okay, that's probably good enough. So that should be pretty easy to recognize. Good silhouettes. Good silhouettes. About the same area, about the same. About the same. Those are good. And so yeah, the Nexus is the last thing to bit. Last bit to get. fold that up. Let's do that. The last thing that I do generally is the navigation bar at the bottom of the screen, and then we make sure that the art meshes in with it. So building these icons now is going to help set up the creation of that bar. Transform, flip horizontal. That feels about right. These down. Merge down. Let's fill that in. That's a little bunched up. Leave that empty for now. Copy, paste, re-transform. Down. Little tentacle bits. I'm super close to being out of time. Grinding the guardrail like a nail in the file on this one, sons. There we go. I'm gonna be out of here in just a few more. Hey, Gabby, dude, I'm doing great. I am doing really well. I'm about to shut down stream for the day. I gotta go to my day job. Yeah, we're just capping off these icons here. Feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good. Yeah. How about you, Gabby? Ready for the next adventure? Just a little finishing touch. This thing, when the chrysalis forms around the ritual caster, the eye wants to protect them. So there's basically a permanized Ivard's Black Tentacle effect that surrounds the chrysalis while the ritual is performed and the caster is transformed. So the team has to deal with this necromancy area of effect that'll grapple you and engulf you and try to disintegrate you, basically. This will be the last touch right here. I love using the negative space to... It's just graphics like this are so simple. They're so fun to make. When they look good, they look great, you know? It's a lot of fun making these things. So close. I am so short on time. I'm so fucking close to this. I'm gonna grind. I'm gonna grind the guardrail. I want to finish this up. Oops. Nice. Neat little icon. Sits pretty. I need to have one last little thing is the I want to have a halo. Why are you glitching? Same glitches, new software. Same glitches. Let's do this. We'll make a there, and then select is modify, contract, 15, delete. Make sure it's centered. And now let's wait a second. Maybe we do it like interesting tool set. This will take a few moments. It's Wednesday, so I'll be out for the rest of the day. I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue. We'll work on the next page. With any luck, I'm going to have the corn mazes done tonight off camera. And then I think my intention is to... If I'm not successful in finishing the corn maze token tile set tonight, I will finish that on stream tomorrow, and then we'll place them on the page that talks about the corn. And then that'll finish off another set of images, another block of pages. There's 100 pages, and like the back 20 are really well underway. We'll have to go back and visit them, but they're close to complete. And the first 15 pages, with the corn mazes tomorrow, we'll finish the first 15 pages, and then page 16 to 79 is basically tokens and maps, and then some small incidental spot art here and there. So we're going to we'll be focusing on dropping the maps into their places on the page, and then once all the maps are in place and the whole thing is strung up, we'll look at what kind of spot illustrations do we need. That feels pretty good. Let's grab that. Copy. Nope. Copy. Paste, paste. Free transform. Flip horizontal. That it's a little off. There we go. Let's merge down. Center. Thicken this a bit. And there we go. There. I don't know what that flicker was, but it scared the hell out of me. My whole screen just flickered for a second. I don't trust technology to care about trying to work with each other. And okay, it's time for me to go. So let's copy, paste, paste. Hide that. Free transform. Flip horizontal. There. Merge down. Centered up. Yeah. All right. There we go. Icons come. Actually, this one's a little bit big, isn't it? Whoa. I did not want to do that. Free transform. There. You know what? Honestly, think I like that better. Yeah, I like that better. Just make it a little bit smaller to fit the space a little bit easier. There we go, guys. All right, so we made our icons. I need to edit this page because I lost the word "the" in there. But otherwise, this page is done, dudes. So that's it. I'm out of here. Shit, I am late. I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Thanks a lot for being here. Like, subscribe, bell icons. Check out my books down below. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the future. Thanks a lot for being here. Bye.